Chapter 5. In the meantime, life went on. Song pestered me to go to a local dance where they charged a $20 entrance fee for some charity. A dance? Wow, I thought. I hadn't been to one of those in years. How exciting. I mean, wouldn't it be great to dance with other adults? I turned her down though. I can't go, Song. I'd rather save the $20 for food and, diapers and stuff. But Maria, you need to go out and have fun, she said. Otherwise, Maria, she get boring. Boring? Me? Can't be. Could I be boring? Look, Song, there's also the issue of a babysitter, I'd have to pay her for 2 kids. Oh, you such a tight ass, Song said with an exasperated sigh. I'm not a tight ass, Song. I'm just, I'm a tight ass, Song. I am. Being the problem solver that she was, and being the good friend that she was, Song bought me a ticket to the local dance. I was taken aback by her generosity. I mean, financially, she too was penny pinching. Not only that, she also engaged in some good old-fashioned bartering. Song arranged for a mother of a Thai girl called Julie to watch over both my kids and little Charlie. In exchange for babysitting, Song would give the babysitter 2 massages and introduce her to a few eligible Australian men. Me? I'd have to help Julie with a TAFE English assignment. How could I argue with that kind of negotiation? Besides, teaching was something I really enjoyed. So, I was going to a dance for the first time in years on my own, thanks to Song. And the venue was just 6 minutes away from my apartment, so I could be home in no time should a problem arise. Once I agreed to attend the dance, I was amazed at how excited I was. My first solo outing since I'd arrived in Australia, since I'd ended my marriage. I had enough pretty clothes, stilettos, bags already, so clothing wasn't an issue. With Rihanna's I Just Wanna Dance playing in the background, I exfoliated my, entire body, then painted my nails, shaved my legs, plucked my eyebrows, and finally, I was ready. I looked in the mirror and nodded. I looked nice. Yeah, pretty. I felt pretty. Knock knock, Song said and barged into my bedroom. You ready, honey? I looked at Song and groaned inwardly. She was dressed in a tiny cerise sequin skirt, a cerise boob tube, magenta glitter lipstick, and big clear heels. She had colored her hair blonde, and it was a really bad DIY job. She looked, dare I say it, she looked like a hooker. She was my dear friend, and I truly loved her, and I had her best interests at heart at all times. So what do I say to her? The truth or lie? What do you think so of my clothes? She asked, turning around slowly, an expectant look in her eyes. What do you think so? What could I say? Song was feeling great. She was comfortable in a skin of magenta and glitter. She was happy. What do I say? Song, you look great. She beamed before she frowned at me. Why are you not ready, Arena? I looked down at my strappy black top, my stilettos, my jeans, and shrugged. What's wrong with... No, she said. You look 80 years old. 80? Yeah. With a sigh, I fished into my cupboards for a top that showed cleavage, so that I wouldn't be mistaken for an 80-year-old. I found one, a silver and black top that bunched under the breast, giving me some shape. She gave me a thumbs up to the top, but she shook her head in dismay at my jeans. Okay, fine. I went in search of a black skirt. Song eyed the Vera Wang bandit skirt in my hands and frowned. What? She snatched it out of my hands and, to my absolute horror, ripped at the skirt, then handed it back to me. Song, that skirt was so expensive. I was gonna sell it on eBay. Put it on, tight-ass, put it on. Muttering to myself, I put on the skirt, which was now a mini skirt. Happy? She clapped her hands. 100%. As I looked in the mirror, I had to admit, I looked way nicer than before. I did. Honey, get a husband tonight? Oh no, I said, as I grabbed my purse and followed her out of the apartment. I do not want a husband. Okay, a fuck then. Casual fuck, one night standing, huh? Oh no, not that either, thank you. Why? You know like fuck? I shook my head from side to side and stuck out my bottom lip. Song, I actually hate it. What? I hate sex, I really do. She blinked rapidly at me. Because of your bad husband? I nodded. No worries, honey, she said, patting my back in a reassuring manner. Right, man? And honey will love to fuck again. I gave a mirthless chuckle and said, I doubt it. At the dance, Song's friends, they welcomed me warmly. Hello, tight ass, they chorused, before opening up their dance circle to me. Yeah. The dance was an absolute blast. I did not plan to spend a cent on drinks. I didn't need to. Song had solicited drinks for us with absolute ease. Before I knew it, I had 3 shots of tequila and a vodka Red Bull. Tipsy and happy, I celebrated my newfound freedom by dancing for the first time since I met Tom the way I wanted to, with my hands in the air and without restraint. Tom didn't approve of wild dancing, only ballroom-style dancing. He and I even had lessons, which to me were so boring. I wanted to salsa and Zumba and even dirty dance. But Tom would have been absolutely aghast had I made a spectacle of myself, as he called it. With Song and her friends, I unleashed myself on the dance floor. Danced all the time, wildly too, exhibited myself, only took breaks to catch my breath. I was not short of male attention, and had to turn down offers from guys who wanted to buy me drinks. Song had warned me about being roofied, so yeah, I wouldn't have accepted drinks from anyone other than her anyway. But I have to admit, I was secretly pleased with the male attention. I believe that I had lost my mojo, my self-confidence somewhere between motherhood and Tom's constant belittling of me. Evidently, I still had it. Being free of Tom probably caused it to resurface, caused it to be resurrected, maybe. At around midnight, mindful of my babysitter, I made plans to leave and sort out Song. Okay, honey, Song said. Song sounded disappointed at having to leave a newfound squeeze called Mike, an Aussie guy with shiny green eyes and a naughty smile. Song, I whispered, you don't have to come. I will take care of Charlie. Her eyes turned as bright as the sequins in her top. You sure, tight ass? You sure? Yeah, of course. Have fun. I'll see you tomorrow. I winked at her. 100%, honey, she said before running off to dance with Mike. As I stepped out of the dance hall, I removed my heels and started my 6-minute limp home. Served me right for dancing non-stop in stilettos. It was a safe area and there were quite a few people around, so I wasn't afraid of walking home alone. The night was balmy and it had a holiday feel to it. For a while, I enjoyed the solitude of being on my own. No kids, just me, my tipsy thoughts, and the balmy night. A rare thing, a great combination. 6 minutes of solitude. It felt illegal, and I felt guilty, even though I looked forward to it. But as I walked home, I couldn't help feeling like I was being watched. Tom. My heart quickened at the thought of him watching me. When I turned around, I spotted a big guy wearing a cap and brown boots. He was bearded, had a mustache and bushy eyebrows. I had seen that man before at the dance. He had been watching me. I had ignored him, but now he was behind me. He chooses to leave the dance when I do? I quickened my pace, kept to the lit-up sections of the road and hurried home. But all the while I could hear his footsteps behind me. When I quickened my steps, so did he. I broke into a trot and cleared my throat, ready to scream should I need to. Finally, I reached my building. I was relieved until I realized that he was still behind me. Oh my God. I didn't know what to do. Quickly and with shaking hands, I swiped my card and darted into the building. I was finally safe. When I glanced behind me, he was entering my building. How the hell did he get inside? Could I have left the door open in my haste to get away from him? He didn't look like he lived here. To me, he looked like a homeless person. The elevator was open. Thank God. I raced toward it. The man began to advance swiftly toward me, his eyes focusing intently on my face. I hit door closed, held it down. He began to almost run to the elevator. Oh my God. Close, close, close. He moved faster. Oh my God. If he entered the elevator, it would be just him and I all alone in it at that part of the night. Oh my God. I felt a scream coming on. Luckily, the door shut just in time, in his face too. Shaking, I raced out of the elevator, into my apartment, opened the door, ran inside and locked it. It took a while for my heart to return to its normal state. I made a mental note never to walk alone at night. This homeless guy, or whoever he was, had freaked me out something terrible. I also made a mental note to get some mace or a switchblade for my purse, one like Song carried around. At 11 the next morning, Song was still not home. Despite feeling tired from all the dancing and the booze, I decided to take the 3 kids to the local park to, expend some energy. Come on, kids, I said as I tried to bundle them into the elevator. Just as the doors were closing, a huge hand slipped through it and held it open. To my absolute horror, it was the hairy homeless man. He stepped into the elevator and glared at me. My mouth, already dry from the alcohol I had consumed the night before, went even drier. My legs, they became wobbly, and my throat constricted with terror. Was he going to rob me? Steal my wallet? Drag me away from my kids and rape me somewhere in a dark corner of the building? Hello? Charlie said to the man. No, don't! I wanted to scream at Charlie. Hello, the man muttered. Then Warren smiled at the man. No, don't, Warren! I wanted to scream. Don't look at him, don't smile at him, just be ready to run. The hairy, scary man glared at me throughout the elevator ride. Luckily, when I got out of the elevator, there were people around me. I grabbed the children and guided them away from the man as quickly as I could. It was the scariest elevator ride I had endured in my entire life. Hours later, on my way back, I bumped into Song in the foyer, and to my absolute horror, she was laughing with the scary man. Laughing! I waved at her, then quickly scurried away. What is wrong with Song? Why isn't that guy scaring the hell out of her? Later in my apartment, I tackled her about it. Song, why were you talking to that homeless man? He's so creepy, Song. He not homeless, he cup. I squinted at Song. Squinted or widened my eyes. That's how it went whenever I tried to communicate with Song. Hiccup, she repeated. Sometimes Song made no sense at all. So I had to ask, Song, what do you mean by hiccup? She leaned in and whispered, I think you underwear cup. I think. My eyes widened. So he's a pervert then. She bobbed her head. Oh my God, really? And you're talking to him, Song? We have children. No, she cried before she rolled her eyes. You a cup. Underwear cup. I squinted at Song, trying to interpret what she was trying to communicate, which caused her to squint at me for, well, God only knows why. She slapped her wrists together impatiently, then put them behind her back, which caused me to lose my squint and widen my eyes. Wait, Song, you mean, are you saying that he is a cop? An undercover cop? She bobbed her head. What? Song, that guy with that check shirt and that horrible beard? He's a cop? She gave me 2 thumbs up and threw in a 100%. No way. He can't be a cop. No friggin' way, Song. Is, she insisted. I thought he was a total creep, roaming this building. What? Yeah, I thought he was like gonna, snatch my purse or kill me with a knife, take me behind the building and rape me. Gosh, I was so scared, Song. She laughed. Really? Honey, was that scared? Oh yeah. I wanted to run out of the elevator when he entered. Song laughed her head off and slapped me on the back. Honey, so paranormal. I give you my knife to carry in your bag, okay? Paranoid, I corrected. And no. Song, no. I believe it's illegal to carry a knife on your person, Song. She stared at me, then said, I carry apple with my knife. By the way, remember when I said earlier on that Song's English was fairly good? Well, you can strike that. Underwear cup, remember? Days later, Song and I were standing outside my door talking about Mike, the guy she picked up at the dance, who she was now seeing, when we saw the homeless man, or the underwear cop. After flinging me a dirty look, he said, How'd your last assignment go, Song? It's fucking shit, Song said. 55% only? Oh, that's too bad. But you passed, right? Song nodded. But I passed. So, Song, it's 100% then. Song shrugged. He put out his hand. She high-fived him. Me, I watched silently, not making eye contact with him, unable to believe that he was a cop. Until I saw a badge and proper identification, I had my doubts about him. He had raced to the elevator to get inside with me, remember? And let's not forget, he had the voice of a serial killer. Then, to my surprise, the hairy, scary man opens the door of the apartment across from me. Directly across from me. I looked at Song with huge eyes. So, he hadn't been following me then. He had been returning to his apartment. And I shut the elevator doors on him? Crap! I made a mental note never to get so paranormal in the future. Yeah, my mind was littered with mental notes, as you can see. Hey Bea, you meet my friend Irina? Underwear cop turned to look directly at me. And for the first time I noticed cobalt eyes under the bushy eyebrows. Yeah, she's the one who shut the elevator doors on me, he complained in a low voice, like baritone voice, serial killer voice. Oh, I'm sorry about that, I said, my face turning red. His name was Bea? Really? How fake a name is that? That's because she think you're homeless, man, Sung said and collapsed into fits of giggles. Bea frowned. What? My face grew hotter. Sung, shut up, I wanted to shout. She from South Africa. She get very scared of you that night. She's scared of everything. His bushy eyebrows climbed as he eyed me. Song, shut up. Homeless? He made a point of checking out his cargo pants and his checked shirt before he squinted at me. Homeless? I felt myself withering under his angry gaze. She say she think you steal her purse? And what? Soon, I hissed. Will you stop? She think you take her to the side of the building and rape her. His jaw dropped. My hands flew to cover my eyes while Song laughed louder. When his jaw returned to its correct anatomical position, he said, Rape her? Seriously? Your friend is nuts. She's a psycho. I could feel him staring at me, glaring. When I dropped my hands from my eyes and looked at him, he stood with an amused look on his face. Thank God, I thought. Sorry, I muttered again, despite him calling me a psycho. I was wrong and I'm sorry, I am. Bea folded his arms across his chest, widened his stance and tilted his head at me, as if he was trying to figure me out. When he didn't accept my apology, I glared harder at Song. See what you did, Song? What? Song asked, still laughing. I lie? I no lie. My story 100%. I gave a dismissive wave and groaned with embarrassment. I gotta go, I muttered and shut the door on their laughter. So what else did she say? I heard him ask. Behind the closed door, I shoved all my knuckles into my mouth and cringed. What else was Song saying to him? Blabbermouth Song. I could kill her. And he was my neighbor. How do I handle living across from him after all the things I said about the man? All the terrible things I said about him. I judged the man on his dressing? I was a terrible person. I was. 2 days later, I found myself standing next to Bea, waiting for the elevator, stroller in hand. Immediately my face felt hot. Hi, Bea, I muttered. Hi, he returned. The twinkle in his eyes told me that he found my embarrassment highly entertaining. For a few moments we stood in strained silence. Awkward, so awkward. But I was aware of a smirk on his hairy face. Finally, I could bear it no more. I whirled to look up at him. Look, Bea, I'm sorry I said those things about you, okay? I didn't know you're a cop and I just was scared, okay? And really, I shouldn't have said all those things about you because it's Bea. Huh? It's bear, not beer. I frowned. Did I hear wrong? Didn't Song call him beer? But we were talking about Song here. Sorry, bear, sorry. Relax, he said in a rich, highly amused voice. It's all good, neighbor. I nodded, fell silent, and bit on my bottom lip as we waited for the elevator. Awkward. So awkward. When it arrived, he held the door open for me. Thank you, I muttered, feeling like something between a fool and a nutcase, maybe even a psycho. You're welcome, he said, his eyes crinkling at the sides. When I got out of the elevator, I walked ahead. So, you don't like beards then? He said from behind me. I groaned. Oh God, she told you everything. And if I were you, I would turn red too. He looked like he was trying hard not to laugh out loud. At least he wasn't mad at me. I shook my head and looked up at the ceiling. Remind me never to rob a bank with Song? Maybe I should just move to the moon, Mars, wherever. He chuckled. My head dropped. I'm sorry. Gosh, I haven't been this embarrassed in a long time. I looked up at him. At least you're entertained, right? Well, yeah. I haven't been this entertained in a long time. And you should be sorry. Should be doing everything you can to make it up to me. Serial killer voice? Oh my God, Song. His eyes twinkled with mirth at my agony. You gotta make this right, you know. Look, when my ship comes in, I'll buy you a cup of coffee or hot chocolate. I'll buy you a cup of hot chocolate to make up for all my wrongdoings, okay? He looked up for a moment, then back at me. With marshmallows? Oh, you like marshmallows too? He nodded. Don't tell anyone. I smiled. Well, they're 50 cents more, but hey, as you've said, I owe you. Damn right you do, and I'm looking forward to it. Well, okay. Look, have a nice day in the meantime. I turned and walked away. You stay out of trouble, you hear? I'll be keeping an eye on you. I'm not sure why, but I stopped, turned, and tilted my head at him. He winked at me. He actually winked at me. With a smile, I turned and walked away. Between you and me, marshmallows, they were really 50 cents more. Trust me. I'm a tight ass, remember? Bear and I bumped into each other often in the building. And whenever we did, we shared knowing smiles and some light banter. He'd high-five Warren, talk to Sasha, and seemed friendly with all the residents in the building. And after he began talking to me, he didn't seem scary after that. All I heard was his voice, his laughter, and I saw that amused look in his eyes every time he saw me, which always caused a red tide to envelop me, which he seemed to enjoy. You should know that Song called you paranormal, he teased. You should know that Song called you beer, I retaliated. You should know that Song told me you're not into one-night stands. Well, damn, she told you that? Well, you should know that Song called you an underwear cup. Yeah? I've got more. Want me to continue? Bear flashed both palms at me. I believe you. You win, you win. Oh yeah, you win. Most of the time, After our encounters in the building or in the elevator, I left red-faced but smiling, sometimes laughing. Bear came across as a little shy, and I believe that's why he hid behind all that facial hair. Knowing that he was shy made me that bit bolder. One day, I found myself turning to him and saying, "I've invited Song and Mike to dinner. Would you like to come too?" He looked completely taken aback by my invite. Had I perhaps been a little too bold? Too forward? When? Tomorrow night. Before you say yes, I must warn you, it's a simple dinner. Simple. It is. What I meant to say was, it wasn't going to be a sit-down, 4-course, catered dinner like I used to throw when I was married to Tom the Tyrant. He raised his arm, then brought it down slowly to the back of his neck. It's okay if you can't, or if you don't want to. I mean, like I understand. And Arena, I stopped babbling. Yes, I have my daughter with me. Mind if I brought her along? You have kids? You're married? Oh no, I assumed you were single, and oh, have I made an ass of myself again? Oh my God. I mean, look, you can bring your wife if you like. That was me trying to save face. Attempting to. Arena, I'm not married. I'm single. Oh, he's single. Oh, phew. Oh, okay. Okay then, yeah, okay. But sure you can bring your daughter. Absolutely, of course. How old is she? She's 4. 4? That would be perfect. Warren would love her, and Charlie too. Well, then I'd love to come to dinner. And simple is good. What can I bring? Well, something to drink maybe. Wine, perhaps? Wine? Thought you'd say beer. I laughed. 100% then. I fell forward laughing. I'm looking forward to your cooking, Arena. Oh, I bit my bottom lip again. Hope I don't disappoint you. You'd better not. You have a lot of making up to do. In a dramatic manner, he began to count my transgressions on his fingers. Rape you? Homeless man? Beer? Stealing your purse? Serial killer? Shutting the doors on me? Oh, shut up, Bear, I muttered, wanting the earth to open up and swallow me right then and there. With both his index fingers pointing at me, he backed away. Tomorrow night then. With a huge smile on my face, I watched him walk away. I had actually asked a guy out. I couldn't believe it. How daring was I? Downright brazen, I was. This new me? Wow. Just wow. Chapter 6. It would be Mike and Song, Bear and me, a double dinner at my place. I was excited. My first dinner party at my humble abode. I had received money from all the work I had done, so a simple dinner I could definitely afford. Mike, Song's latest flame, was a pleasant guy in his 40s, and we got on really well. Song didn't cook, and apparently Mike was dying for some home cooking, so he was looking forward to dinner at my place. Good. I discovered that I was a pretty decent cook, and I did enjoy creating meals. The most appealing thing about my dinner party, I could have fun while preparing to entertain. Didn't have to worry about Tom's anxiousness with perfection or about green concealer. No. With Kanye and Jamie Foxx belting out Gold Digger in the background, and Warren helping peel potatoes, Sasha crawling around, it was just a great laid-back atmosphere. Couple that with the smell of cooking, and you have a warm, inviting home, the way it should be. So what if the crockery wasn't matching, and the glasses weren't Royal Dalton, and the cutlery wasn't Jorge Jensen? I wanted to impress no one. With 2 kids under 5, it meant preparing in advance, which I did. I actually started preparations early that morning. By the time my guests arrived, I was almost done. Just the salad left to assemble. When I caught myself belting out "Feel This Moment" with Christina and Pitbull, I stopped my dicing, put down my knife, and smiled. A moment to be savored like fine wine. And I did. I cracked open a can of Heineken, took a huge gulp, and smiled. Yes, it was beer, not wine. Beer in a can. At that moment, beer was significant. Why? Well, it had to do with Tom. You see, Tom liked beer, but he never drank it in public. He didn't want to come across as a beer drinker for fear he'd be mistaken for a yobo, which is an Australian term for an uncouth person. So, he only drank Johnny Walker Blue Label around friends, to impress them further. Me, I like beer too, but of course, I wasn't even allowed to buy it. Had to sip on champagne in a long-stemmed crystal glass in front of people. Sip, not drink, not guzzle it either. Tom would give me that look that reminded me that I was embarrassing him. But in my teeny tiny kitchen, I was drinking beer in a can, cheap, tacky, and I loved every minute of it. Freedom. What a delightful thing to be able to do whatever you like, whenever you like. Never again would I give it all up for a man. Oh, and talking about men, if I was being really honest, I'd say no. I'd admit that I was looking forward to seeing Bear, the homeless underwear cop. I had some serious making up to do with him, and I was going to do it that night. Mike and Soong arrived first, bringing a ton of food and drink, for which I was grateful. Bear was the last to arrive. With Sasha on my hip, I said, "Welcome to my humble abode." "I brought marshmallows," he said with a wink. He didn't just bring marshmallows, he came laden with stuff. Starters, desserts, wine, beer, and goodies for the children. "Wow, Santa, you didn't have to bring so much stuff, but thanks." "Ho, ho, ho, and you're welcome," he said, reaching behind him. "This lovely girl here clinging to my leg like a koala? She's Amy. She's 4 and she's never met a lolly she didn't like, so beware." Amy was gorgeous. She had Bear's eyes and a shy smile. "Come, sweetheart," he coaxed. "Don't be shy, baby." When Amy wouldn't come out, Bear dropped to his haunches and whispered to her. Amy wound her tiny arms around her father's neck and just wouldn't let go. As I watched Bear with his daughter, so loving, so patient, I felt a stab of envy, not for myself. No, it was a stab of envy for little Warren. He had never had the privilege of experiencing such warmth and love from a father. Bear's behavior made me warm up to him that much more. Then Charlie and Warren appeared with their toys. Within minutes, Amy disappeared with the kids, and we didn't see her again until it was time to eat. Bear bent and tapped Sasha's nose with his finger. "You remind me of Amy when she was little." Sasha responded by opening out her arms to Bear. I was surprised. Sasha was that comfortable with Bear already? Bear laughed and took her off me. "Can I help with anything?" "Well, you have your hands full," I said, jerking my chin at Sasha, playing with the buttons on his shirt. He leaned in and whispered, "Let me do drinks. I learned a long time ago that if you get your guests really drunk, they don't complain about the food." "Well, if you say so, Bear, then go ahead and get us all drunk." "Trust me on this. I've done it before." "Okay, do your thing then." Dinner was pleasant, with a few embarrassing moments. By a few embarrassing moments, I mean like 100 or so embarrassing moments. Like the time I discovered that Song had told Bear all about my abusive marriage and my great escape. "Oh God, Song," I muttered in dismay. Then the other time when Bear grinned and said, "She told me you don't like sex." I glared at Song. How could she possibly tell him something like that? "Song, I'm gonna kill you." "But honey, he asked me," Song protested. "He asked me all the time about you. Every time, all the time. He don't want to talk about nothing else." I swung around to look at him, my eyebrows elevated. It was my turn to grin. "Bastard." She's lying," Bear said, his eyes on his drink. Song was offended. "I'm not a liar. Bear asked so much. Why she leave her husband? She say anybody now?" Bear shook his head from side to side and said, "Alcohol, when it comes too soon, doubles as truth serum, huh? Anybody got duct tape? I got some serious gagging to do." "How old she be?" Soon continued, unfazed by Bear's embarrassment. "So many questions, I say. You want to know why you don't ask her." He say, "I scared of her." I say, "Why?" "Fuck," Bear muttered. It was his turn to pray for a natural disaster to occur right then and there. "Why are you scared of me?" I asked. He shrugged. "I don't know. You're like pretty guarded." "Guarded? Me?" "I'm not guarded, Bear." He nodded. "Yeah, you are. Walls all around you." "Well, mate," Mike said, "sometimes you gotta take a wrecking ball to those walls." With raised eyebrows, Bear looked at Mike. "Yeah?" Mike nodded. "I know shit, mate." Bear turned his neck slowly to look at me. Bright red with embarrassment, I muttered something about dessert. When Song and Mike left, Bear lingered behind and helped with the dishes. Song didn't help me at all. The thing about her, as sweet as she was to me, she had few domestic skills. And really, she wasn't a very good mother. I mean, she loved Charlie, make no mistake about that. But she had grown up in a brothel, remember? She had experienced not an ounce of mothering herself. So she didn't know how to mother her child. She was always fascinated when she saw me nurturing my kids, and she ran off and copied me a lot, which was great for little Charlie. After Bear and I finished the dishes, we put the kids to sleep, including little Amy, and moved to the balcony, where we sat and chatted for hours. Light, flirty banter. It was a tiny balcony, just an outdoor two-seater couch, which meant we sat right next to each other, bodies touching, thighs too. I didn't mind, strangely. "So, what's your real name?" I asked, taking a sip of my fourth beer. "Guess." Wolf? Close. My name is Shane Shaw. Chainsaw? Hey, that's an awesome name. Funny, he said, nudging my thigh with his. Well, nice to meet you, Shane Shaw. The pleasure's all mine, he said in a shy voice. In the dark, we smiled at each other. So, what's South Africa like? You see lions and elephants, like, roaming the streets? Well, that depends on how much you have to drink. Right. We chatted some more, and when I looked at the time, it was 3 a.m. I couldn't believe it. My cue to leave? Think I may have outstayed my welcome. I guess I should go to sleep, or my monsters will get me up at 6 tomorrow morning. Yeah, I get it. With great reluctance, Bear and I stood up. Do you want to leave Amy here? I asked. I mean, she's sound asleep. He nodded. No use waking her up. Good idea. I walked Bear to the door. I had a good time, he said, in spite of songs tell all. We both stifled our laughter so as not to wake up the children. Well, Bear, I guess we're even. Yes, we are. Again, we smiled at each other. Bear rubbed the back of his neck, then jerked his head around before he said, Would you like to, go out sometime? Like dinner? Maybe? I don't know, yes, I would like to go to dinner, Bear. Bear stopped rubbing his neck and looked at me. Oh, okay then. Okay, that's good. Great. Yeah. Next, Saturday then? Or is it too soon? Next Saturday will be great, I said. I'm on the shelf at this moment, so I've got no plans. He nodded. 100%. We both cracked up laughing again. Well, good night, pretty lady, he said, tipping my nose with his finger. You're not bad in the kitchen, I gotta say. Good to have a neighbor like you. A neighbor who can really cook. That's what I call a neighbor with benefits. Gotta love your neighbor, remember? Yeah, you're okay. I'm fucking this up, right? I laughed. I'm taking all of those as compliments, Chainsaw. They were compliments, they were. Drunken, rambling compliments, but still, I thought they were sweet. I thought he was sweet. Yeah, you do that, lady. They are compliments for sure. He grinned, then said, Well, I better get out of here before I fuck up some more. Night, sweetheart. He called me sweetheart. Night, Bear. I gushed, feeling like a teenager. Alone in my bed, my mind drifted to Bear. He was sweet, warm, and, what's the word? Easy. Easy. What a nice word. Bear was easy. I was looking forward to Saturday night with him. To my disappointment, after picking up Amy the following morning, I didn't see Bear again the entire week. I found myself craning my neck and looking around for him. I had expected him to keep in touch. Sure, he didn't have my number, but if he wanted to, he could have gotten it from song. Maybe he was busy working. Yeah, maybe he was. Or maybe he just wasn't interested in me. I wasn't sure. When I did see him at my door on Saturday night, I gasped. Wow! Bear's beard was gone. His mustache was gone. His hair was cut short and neatly styled. His clothes, well, he was wearing dark pants, blue and white striped shirt, and black leather shoes. Not the usual cargo pants, sloppy shirts, and brown boots. No. He looked handsome. I couldn't believe it. It wasn't the same homeless man creature. In front of me was a hunk. A total hunk. You look really nice, Bear. Thanks, he said, shifting around in his shoes, his face red with embarrassment. He stuck out his elbow. I took it, needing it because of my really high heels. As he ushered me into a waiting cab, I said, "You dressed up for me, Bear?" In the dark, I could see his bashful smile. Maybe. Yup. Wanted you to like me. It's hard to acquire a wrecking ball, so maybe the threads will do it. I giggled as I got into the back seat of the cab. The guy at the store, he said, "This outfit would up my game with women." I said, "What if I got no game?" He said, "Mate, pray." I laughed. He looked at me. "Seriously? I'm hopeless with women, Irina." "Oh, Bear, you were married, right?" "Yeah, but I think she married me out of pity." "She told you that?" "Nah. Told me she married me for security." "Security? What does that mean?" He lifted and dropped his shoulders. "I've always wondered about that." As he spoke, he reached for my hand, took it in his, and linked his fingers with mine. Whether it was because I was big like a security guard, or because of my job, I gotta wonder. I didn't know what to say. He looked at my hand in his, then looked at me. "You have pretty hands." That was the only compliment he gave me that night, so it felt good. Soft, warm. He pressed the back of my hand to his lips, then held my hand with both of his. I liked that. We traveled for almost 45 minutes to a lovely restaurant with a fireplace. When I saw the restaurant, I could understand why he traveled so far and obviously paid a fortune in cab fees. The restaurant was small, but cozy and memorable, and the food was home-style, more like soul food. The service was personal. The waitstaff were all family and referred to Bear by name. I was impressed, but I did wonder how they knew him so well. I mean, how many women had he taken there? Bear and I talked, argued, and laughed all through dinner, and I couldn't believe how time flew. We sampled different drinks with each course, so I got pretty drunk. But I did enjoy the feeling of busting loose. I mean, there were no kids, just me and another adult to converse with. I didn't want the evening to end. It seemed like he didn't want the evening to end either, because he insisted on getting us dessert, which we barely touched. As we stumbled out of the restaurant, he took my hand in his once again. I liked that. I liked the roominess and the warmth of his touch. So different from Tom's cold hand. I liked his arm around my shoulders as we walked along the street. The way he steered me forward at times, then at other times pulling me back into his chest to keep me safe. I liked all of that. Firm, but safe. That's how I felt about Bear's touch. Everything about him made me feel comfortable and safe. And in the cab, I found myself sitting really close to him, my head against his shoulder. It was all so organic. It had been a while since I'd been with a man, and I was nervous about that aspect, the physical intimacy bit. I hated sex, remember? To my surprise with Bear, I found myself wondering what it would be like to kiss him. What would it be like to lie in his arms? What it would feel like to make love to a hunk like him. Tom was a smaller guy, not a hunk. Just well put together kind of guy most women found attractive. Now Bear, he was big and beefy and someone you could cuddle with, spoon with. Easy, remember? Real easy. That was Bear. When we reached our building and got into the elevator, Bear drew me in for a hug. A bear hug. What else? It was just a lovely hug. Nothing else. Not even a kiss. Yeah. At my door, I whispered, "I had a great time tonight, Bear." "I had a phenomenal time," he said, sticking his hands into his pockets. "And I would like to do it again. Love to do it again." "Sure." We smiled at each other. Then, Bear leaned his face slowly towards mine. I held my breath and braced for his kiss. Gently, with his hands still in his pockets, he pressed his lips against mine. That was it. So soft, so brief, yet so delightful. Disappointing too, because it was our first kiss, and I had expected him to use both hands. I mean, isn't that how it's done? Well, Bear didn't, but his kiss was still heady. "Good night, beautiful," he whispered, his lips hovering over mine. I thought he was going to kiss me again, but he didn't. He drew back. "Night, Bear," I said before I entered my apartment, disappointed that he didn't choose to take more from me, disappointed that he didn't even ask for it. As I prepared for bed, I thought about our parting, his light kiss. Why so light? Maybe I was too intimidating, too guarded, too serious. Those walls around me, well. Or maybe, just maybe, he didn't want more from me. Could that be the reason? I found myself hoping that it wasn't, because I really liked being with Bear. Well, let's hope it wasn't because of the way I dance, I thought. He had watched me dancing at the charity dance, remember? Oh God. With my hands in the air like I just didn't care. Oh God. Well, Bear did ask me out again. Hooray. Yeah, I was relieved. It probably wasn't because of the way I danced. And the next time we went out, Bear drove us in his Jeep to a local restaurant for dinner, after which we caught a movie, The Fast and the Furious. Throughout the movie, he held my hand, despite struggling to eat his popcorn with his left hand. I was amused, but I found it so sweet. When we arrived back home, Bear killed the engine in the apartment parking lot, then turned and looked directly at me. "What?" I asked, squirming under his scrutiny. His response was to lean in, take my face in both his hands and kiss me. Slowly at first, then harder, then urgently. And I couldn't believe just how turned on I was by his touch, by his kiss. I wound my arms around his neck, kissed him back, taking what I needed from him without restraint or thought. That was unlike me. I mean, I hated sex, remember? as for intimacy, I really didn't know what intimacy with the opposite sex was anymore. Yet, I liked the feel of Bear's body over mine, weighing me down, the feel of his tongue inside my mouth. It was time to face the truth. I wanted Bear. I wanted Bear badly. So much so that we necked like teenagers for almost half an hour in the car park, in the dark. He wanted me, I could tell, and I liked how he wanted me. I didn't want to stop for fear of ruining the moment, and I suspected he felt the same way. It was just wonderful. Then he said, "I have something to tell you." His tone of voice, wow, alarm bells immediately gonged in my head. What was it? I stiffened, then tried to pull away from him, but he wouldn't let me. He had me anchored in my seat with his torso alone. "Bear, what is it, Bear?" "I gotta go away for a while." I blinked at him. "Where to? Why?" Slowly he ran his fingers through his hair. "Bear, you told me you were not married. Are you married?" He moved away back into his seat. Ding, 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 ding. "Please don't say yes," I silently prayed. "I'm like you, Arena, separated. No chance of reconciliation whatsoever." I exhaled. "Okay, so what's the problem then? Why so evasive?" "I'm going away for a while on assignment." Bear seemed so awkward and cagey that I had trouble believing him. With our eyes locked, I straightened up my top, pulled down my skirt, smoothed down my hair. "Fine," I said, before opening the door and letting out my disappointed self. "Hey, wait." He rushed around to me and took me in his arms. After squeezing me to him for a few moments, he planted several kisses on my unresponsive lips once more, then led me to the elevator. "Arena, I gotta be honest with you, yet I can't. I need you to trust me." "Bear, I'd be lying if I said I could," I said, turning away from him to punch the keys inside the elevator. In a resigned voice, he said, "Yeah, that's how I lost my wife and child." I swung around to look at him. "What do you mean?" "One day I came home and all I found was a note. Said she couldn't take this lonely life anymore. She's moving on." The elevator stopped and we got out. "But I gotta do what I gotta do, Arena. I'm committed." "I get it," I said. I do. But thank you for the lovely evening." "Arena, don't." Bear grabbed me around the waist and jerked me to him. "Let me explain, okay?" I didn't answer. "Please." "Fine." Bear jerked his head toward his apartment. I shook my head from side to side. "I'm not gonna touch you," he said. "I promise. I just want to explain. Please give me a chance." Reluctantly, I put away my door keys and followed him into his apartment. I was surprised at what I saw. His apartment was more spacious than I expected, and it was fully furnished with modern black leather couches and black and white striped cushions, big TV, lots of audio stuff and gadgets, untidy too. A real man cave for sure. A peek into his bedroom from where I stood revealed his unmade bed. As I said, a manly apartment, but comfy. He slipped his arm around my waist and crushed me to him. "Bear, you said you wasn't going to. One little kiss," he said, and captured my mouth with his. I was powerless to stop him. He was taking what he wanted. That was the problem. The other problem was, I liked his kiss far too much. After allowing him to kiss my lips, my neck, my shoulders, I reluctantly pushed him away. And I have to tell you, that took every ounce of willpower from me. Okay, he said, releasing me and bringing out wine glasses. He handed me a glass of wine and gestured for me to take a seat. We sat on the couch, close to each other, our bodies overlapping once again. I enjoyed my work until I got married and had a baby. Then it didn't work. But I wasn't able to just walk away from my job. And Sarah, well, let's just say I don't blame her for splitting like she did. I sipped on my wine as I listened. I plan to quit because I want a normal life. I do. It's unfair to bring a girl into my life with my job. And that's one of the reasons I don't date. Didn't date. But you came along and you're all over me, enticing me with hot chocolate and marshmallows and begging me to come to dinner. And I caved. I'm human. I succumbed. Oh, really now, Bear? Whining and dining me. As he spoke, his eyes slanted, wanting me so much. I smiled. He cupped my cheek with his large hand and said, "This is my last assignment. After this, it's all over, babe. At least I'm being honest and telling you before we go any further." He had a point there. When do you leave, Bear? In a week's time. I was dismayed. So soon? How long are you going away for? Bear shrugged, then averted his eyes. Well, where are you going to? Bear's response was to tuck a stray strand of my hair behind my ears. Wish I could tell you, babe. I liked being called babe by him. Tom didn't do endearing, unless there was an audience, so it was new to me, and I liked it. Okay, I get it, I said. I didn't get it. I just said that. He reached for my glass, placed it on the table, and took me in his arms again. Tell me you'll be here when I get back. Tell me that. I really want you, Irina, badly. He was asking for too much, too soon. He really was, much as I liked him. Bear, look, I have to think about it. I'm sorry, I can't give you the answer you want. I'm sorry. He nodded slowly. His disappointment was tangible. Slowly, he released me, his shoulders slumping. Besides, I'm really unable to commit to anything, you know? It's like way too soon for me. I stood up. I'm not going to do anything. It's just, I shrugged. He nodded slowly. Well, thanks for the lovely evening, I said as I walked to the door. Bear watched me silently, didn't try to stop me. I opened the door and left. In bed that night, I stared at the ceiling in the dark. Well, that's that, I told myself. No way was I going to sit around and wait for some guy who spins me a long story about going where? Oh yes, he couldn't tell me. For how long? Couldn't tell me that either. No, I just wasn't buying it. No, I had some serious living to do, and I was going to do it. Unfortunately, I'd have to shake off Bear first. Pity. I really enjoyed his company. Enjoyed how easy he was. Easy. What a nice word. Oh, but I've said that already. Pity. Oh, but I've said that too, haven't I? To listen to more of Eve Rabi's audio works on YouTube, please like this post and subscribe.